At Maplewood Middle School, the students were settling into their classroom, chatting quietly and preparing for another ordinary day of lessons. Among them was Anna, an 11-year-old girl who sat at her desk, trying to focus on the teacher's words. But despite the noise and movement around her, Anna felt something strange inside. A discomfort had been growing for a while, a feeling she couldn't quite explain. Her body felt different, her emotions were a little sharper than usual, and a sense of unease tugged at her attention. Despite these feelings, Anna stayed silent. She had always been a quiet child, careful not to draw attention to herself. She worried that if she spoke about what she was experiencing, her classmates might laugh, tease her, or think she was overreacting. Even the thought of raising her hand or whispering a question to the teacher made her stomach twist with nervousness. So she did what she had done many times before. She kept her feelings inside, pretending that everything was normal, even though it wasn't. Throughout the lesson, Anna's mind wandered. She tried to write notes and follow along with the teacher, but the strange discomfort kept pulling her focus away. She felt restless in her chair, shifting slightly, and her heart seemed to beat faster than usual. Every small movement of her classmates, the turning of pages, the tapping of pencils, or the soft whispers, felt louder and more overwhelming. Anna realized she couldn't fully ignore what was happening inside her, but she still couldn't bring herself to speak up. Anna wondered if other children felt the same way. She looked around the room and saw her classmates smiling, laughing, and asking questions freely. They seemed confident and untroubled. That made her feel even more isolated. Was she the only one experiencing this strange discomfort? Was something wrong with her? These questions added weight to her silence, creating a quiet anxiety that grew as the class continued. Even though Anna felt alone, a small part of her hoped someone would notice. She wished a teacher might sense that something wasn't quite right and offer help. But at the same time, fear held her back. She didn't know how to explain what she felt, and she worried that even if she tried, no one would understand. So the discomfort remained locked inside her, silent but persistent, like a secret burden she had no choice but to carry alone. By the end of the class, Anna was both relieved and frustrated. She had survived the lesson without anyone noticing, but the strange feeling inside her hadn't disappeared. She didn't yet understand what it was or how to handle it. What she did feel, however, was a quiet hope that someday someone would recognize her struggle and help her make sense of the changes she was experiencing. During art class at Maplewood Middle School, Anna was focused on her painting, carefully choosing colors and mixing shades. The room was filled with the soft sounds of brushes on paper, the occasional scrape of chairs, and the low hum of classmates talking quietly. It was a typical afternoon, and for a short while, Anna almost forgot the strange discomfort she had been feeling earlier in the day. But then, she noticed something that made her heart race. A small red stain had appeared on her skirt. At first, she thought she had accidentally spilled paint or ink from her art supplies. But as she looked closer, she realized that the stain didn't match any of the colors she had been using. Panic bubbled up inside her. Her mind raced, and she suddenly felt very hot and very self-conscious. She pressed her fingers against the fabric, trying to understand what had happened. But the more she examined it, the more anxious she became. Anna's thoughts spiraled. She remembered feeling uncomfortable earlier in class, and now this red stain seemed like confirmation that something was terribly wrong with her. She didn't know what it meant or why it had happened. Was she sick? Was she hurt? Was something broken inside her body? Her chest tightened, and her stomach churned as worry took over. She had never experienced anything like this before, and the uncertainty terrified her. Even though Anna wanted to ask someone for help, she felt frozen. Her classmates were still focused on their own projects, oblivious to what was happening. The room felt suddenly overwhelming. The sound of laughter, the scratching of pencils, and the teacher's voice talking about techniques all blurred together into a background of noise that made her panic worse. She felt like she was trapped carrying a secret that made her feel exposed and vulnerable at the same time. Anna tried to think of what to do next. She considered going to the restroom to check in private, but fear held her back. She didn't know if it was something normal, like a small injury or a part of growing up, or if it was something serious that would embarrass her if anyone found out. The more she worried, the more the panic grew, making it even harder to think clearly. Her hands trembled, and she felt like she could not stay seated. As her mind raced, Anna wished desperately that anyone would notice and help her, just like she had hoped earlier in the day. She wished a teacher would understand that she was frightened and confused. She wished she had someone to explain what was happening and reassure her that everything was okay. The red stain, small as it was, had triggered a flood of fear that she couldn't control on her own. By the end of the class period, Anna's anxiety had grown so intense that she knew she couldn't ignore it any longer. Something had changed and she needed help. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself, and began thinking about who she could quietly approach without drawing too much attention. She realized that this moment, frightening as it was, might also be the moment where she could finally find guidance and understanding. Anna, usually one of the more cheerful and lively students in her class, felt a strange heaviness settle over her as the red stain appeared on her skirt. Her laughter and bright smile, which often lit up the classroom, disappeared almost instantly. She slumped slightly in her seat, trying to make herself smaller, wishing she could somehow vanish. The cheerful energy she normally carried had been replaced with a tight, nervous tension that seemed to fill her entire body. Her eyes darted quickly around the room, scanning every face. She wanted desperately to see if anyone had noticed what had happened, but all she found were classmates focused on their own work. Some were painting quietly, others whispering to friends, and a few were watching the teacher demonstrate a technique on the board. No one seemed to pay attention to her, which was both a relief and a new source of anxiety. She feared that if someone looked at her the wrong way, they might notice the stain and react, and the embarrassment she dreaded so much would come rushing in. Anna's mind raced as she tried to figure out what to do next. She could feel her heartbeat pounding in her chest, her palms growing slightly sweaty as worry and fear combined into a heavy, confusing weight. Normally, she loved being in art class. She enjoyed the colors, the creative freedom, and the chance to express herself. But today, the joy she felt in painting was overshadowed by a fear that something was wrong with her. The usual excitement that came with blending colors or trying new techniques was replaced with a nervous tension that made her hands shake slightly as she held her paintbrush. She glanced toward the teacher, hoping to catch a reassuring smile, but Ms. Carter was busy explaining a new project to the class. Anna hesitated to interrupt, worried that speaking up would draw attention to her problem. She kept quiet, scanning the room again, hoping that no one else would notice. Her eyes flicked over her classmates, trying to read their expressions, imagining the worst-case scenarios in which they might react with teasing or questions she wasn't ready to answer. In the midst of her panic, Anna's normally cheerful personality felt distant, almost as if someone had pressed a pause button on her usual self. She wasn't sure how to return to the comfort of her confident, happy demeanor. She felt trapped between the fear of drawing attention and the need to do something about the sudden, unexplained red stain. Her mind was a whirlwind of what-ifs, and every passing second seemed to amplify her anxiety. Despite feeling alone, Anna's awareness of the classroom around her never left her. She carefully observed each classmate, silently gauging whether anyone might have noticed the stain or been paying attention to her sudden quietness. Every movement, every glance, and every sound became part of her internal assessment. Her normally cheerful demeanor had vanished, replaced by hyper-awareness and the desperate hope that she could manage the situation without anyone realizing just how frightened she felt. By the end of the class period, Anna remained quiet, scanning, and alert, her usual laughter and energy replaced with a quiet tension. She knew she needed to act, but the fear of embarrassment and exposure made it difficult. In that moment, she felt more alone than ever, trapped in a situation that was confusing, frightening, and entirely new to her. Anna sat at her desk, frozen, staring down at the small red stain on her skirt. The quiet panic she felt seemed to grow louder with each passing second. Her heart was pounding, her hands were slightly trembling, and the normally cheerful energy that defined her personality had disappeared completely. The classroom felt unusually loud to her, each sound amplified. The scrape of chairs, the faint chatter of classmates, the soft brush strokes of paint on paper. She felt exposed, vulnerable, and completely unsure of what to do. It was at that moment that she sensed movement beside her. Her best friend, Emily, had been working on her own art project, but noticed something unusual about Anna. Anna's quietness and nervous posture stood out because it was so different from her usual bubbly demeanor. Concern filled Emily's eyes as she leaned slightly toward Anna, lowering her voice to a gentle whisper so that no one else could hear. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Anna froze even more, caught off guard by the question. The words were simple, yet the question carried a weight she couldn't handle at that moment. Her mind raced faster than she could manage. She wanted to say yes, to reassure Emily that she was fine, but she knew that wouldn't be true. At the same time, she couldn't bring herself to explain what was happening. The red stain, the strange discomfort in her body, and the flood of confusion and fear she had been carrying all felt too overwhelming to put into words. She opened her mouth to respond, but no words came out. Her throat felt tight, as though every syllable was caught before it could reach her lips. Emily noticed Anna's hesitation and the tension in her body. She could see the fear in Anna's eyes, the same fear that Anna had been trying to hide from everyone else. Emily didn't push further, understanding that some things needed time. She simply reached over and gave Anna's hand a gentle squeeze, a small gesture of comfort that said, "You're not alone, and I'm here for you." Anna felt a flicker of relief at the touch, but it was mixed with continued anxiety. She wanted to tell someone, anyone, what was happening, yet the embarrassment and confusion held her back. The moment was quiet but powerful. Emily's concern reminded Anna that even in moments of fear and uncertainty, she had people who cared about her. For the first time that day, Anna realized that she didn't have to face everything entirely on her own. The thought gave her a small sense of comfort, though she still felt trapped by her uncertainty. The silence between them stretched for a moment, filled with unspoken understanding. Anna couldn't answer Emily's question yet, but she knew that someone had noticed her distress, and that alone was meaningful. As the art class continued around them, Anna kept her eyes on her painting, but now there was a subtle shift inside her. The panic remained, but it was slightly tempered by the awareness that she had a friend who cared. The small act of empathy had reminded her that even when words fail, support and understanding can still be felt. At lunch, the cafeteria was noisy and crowded, filled with the chatter of students, the clatter of trays, and the occasional burst of laughter from groups of friends. Anna felt completely out of place in the middle of it all. Her usual cheerful self had vanished, replaced with anxiety and confusion. The small red stain on her skirt, which had appeared earlier in art class, now consumed her thoughts. Her heart raced, and her hands trembled slightly as she carried her tray of food, unsure of how she would make it through the lunch period without anyone noticing. Feeling overwhelmed, Anna made a quiet decision. She slipped out of the cafeteria as unobtrusively as she could, hoping that no one would follow or ask questions. Her legs felt heavy and uncertain, and every step seemed slower than the last. Her mind was filled with worries and questions she couldn't answer. What was happening to her body? Was she sick? Was it normal? She had never experienced anything like this before, and the uncertainty made her feel both frightened and helpless. Eventually, she reached the bathroom and closed the door behind her, seeking privacy. The fluorescent lights reflected off the mirrors, and the quiet hum of the ventilation fan was a stark contrast to the noise of the cafeteria. For the first time that day, Anna was alone away from the curious eyes of classmates. She sank onto the edge of the counter, trembling as fear and anxiety coursed through her. The bathroom felt like a small, safe island in a world that suddenly seemed confusing and intimidating. Anna tried to calm herself, taking slow, shaky breaths. She pressed her hands against her knees and stared at her reflection in the mirror. She studied her face and her body, looking for answers, but found none. The confusion was still there, thick and suffocating, and the questions in her mind only grew louder. She didn't understand why her body was changing, and the small red stain only intensified her panic. The thought of anyone noticing or making fun of her made her stomach twist even more. As she sat there, trembling and alone, Anna began to realize just how important it was to find help. She knew she couldn't face this uncertainty entirely on her own. But the idea of speaking to someone, whether it was a teacher, a counselor, or even her parents, still felt intimidating. What if they didn't understand? What if they reacted in a way that embarrassed her even more? These worries kept her silent for a while, leaving her alone with the fear that had taken over her day. Still, even in her fear, a small part of Anna recognized that hiding in the bathroom was not a solution. She felt the need to find reassurance, someone who could explain what was happening to her body and help her understand that it was normal. That thought brought a tiny sense of hope, a spark that reminded her she wasn't entirely trapped by her fear. It was a quiet, fragile feeling, but it was enough to keep her thinking that maybe, just maybe, she could find someone to help her. As the lunch period continued outside, Anna remained hidden, trembling and uncertain, caught between fear and the hope that someone would notice her struggle and guide her through this confusing moment in her life. At Maplewood Middle School, lunch was usually a lively time. Students filled the cafeteria, chatting with friends, opening lunchboxes, and laughing at small jokes that only they understood. But Ms. Reed, the school nurse, noticed something unusual that day. One student, Anna, who usually ate lunch with her friends or sat quietly drawing in her notebook, had not appeared in the cafeteria. At first, Ms. Reed assumed Anna might have been delayed by a class project or talking with a teacher. But as the minutes passed and the lunch period went on, her concern grew. She knew that Anna was normally punctual and rarely missed a meal. Ms. Reed's years of experience working with students had taught her to pay attention to the small details, the things others might overlook. She had seen many children go through confusing or frightening moments, and she understood that sometimes what seemed like a minor absence could signal that a child was struggling. Today, something told her that Anna's absence might not be ordinary. She felt a quiet sense of urgency, a need to check on the student before worry or fear became overwhelming. Without hesitation, Ms. Reed stood up from her desk and began walking down the hallways. She asked a few students if they had seen Anna, but most of them shrugged or shook their heads. "I think she went to the restroom," one whispered. Ms. Reed followed the direction, moving quickly but calmly, aware that children often became embarrassed when someone came looking for them. She didn't want to startle Anna or make her feel ashamed. She only wanted to make sure the student was safe. When she reached the bathroom, Ms. Reed could hear faint, uneven breathing from one of the stalls. She knocked gently on the door and called out softly, "Anna, it's Ms. Reed. Are you okay in there?" The voice was calm and reassuring, not loud or demanding. She knew that in situations like this, tone mattered just as much as words. Children needed to feel safe, not judged or rushed. From inside the stall, Anna froze at first. She had been sitting on the edge of the counter, trying to calm her racing heart and trembling hands. She had not expected anyone to come looking for her, and the sound of a familiar adult voice gave her a strange mix of relief and anxiety. Slowly she whispered back, I don't know." The words were barely audible, but Ms. Reed heard them clearly. Ms. Reed smiled softly and replied, "It's okay, Anna. You don't have to explain everything right now. I'm here to help, and we can figure this out together." Hearing that simple reassurance, Anna felt a small sense of comfort. For the first time that day, she realized that she wasn't alone in dealing with the fear and confusion she had been carrying. With patience and care, Ms. Reed encouraged Anna to open the stall door, guiding her gently to a safe, private space where they could talk. The nurse's attentiveness, calm voice, and understanding presence created a bridge from Anna's panic toward reassurance and clarity, setting the stage for the guidance and support Anna so desperately needed. Outside the bathroom door, Ms. Reed could hear quiet shuffling and soft, uneven breathing from inside the stall. She knew that Anna was likely feeling scared, embarrassed, and unsure of what was happening to her body. Instead of pushing or barging in, Ms. Reed paused, taking a moment to think carefully about how to approach the situation. She wanted Anna to feel safe and in control, not trapped or overwhelmed. With a calm and gentle voice, she softly said, "Anna, can I come in?" Her tone was deliberate, soft enough to reassure but clear enough that Anna knew she wasn't alone. Ms. Reed had learned over the years that children in moments of fear respond best when they are treated with respect and patience. The phrasing of her question gave Anna a choice, letting her feel a sense of control over the situation. This simple question, though quiet and unassuming, was an important first step in helping Anna feel safe enough to share what she was experiencing. Inside the stall, Anna froze. Her hands were trembling, and her chest felt tight, as if the anxiety she had been carrying all morning had suddenly expanded to fill the small bathroom. She wanted to respond, but couldn't find the words. She had been hiding, hoping no one would notice her fear, and now a familiar adult was asking permission to enter. The quiet voice outside the door sounded kind and understanding, but Anna still felt the knot of panic in her stomach. She didn't know what to say. After a moment that felt both long and short at the same time, Anna whispered back, her voice barely audible, "Okay." The simple word, though hesitant, was enough. It signaled that she was willing to let someone in, someone she could trust. She slowly took a deep breath, trying to steady her hands and calm the racing thoughts that had been overwhelming her. The gesture of letting Ms. Reed in was significant. It was the first step toward facing the fear she had been holding inside all day. Ms. Reed waited patiently, continuing to speak in soft, reassuring tones. "Thank you, Anna. I'll be right there. You don't have to explain everything right now. We'll take it one step at a time." Hearing those words, Anna felt a flicker of relief. The nurse's voice carried empathy, understanding, and reassurance, creating a safe space where Anna could begin to confront her anxiety without fear of judgment or embarrassment. When Anna slowly opened the stall door, she saw Ms. Reed standing there with a gentle smile and calm eyes. The nurse's body language was open, non-threatening, and welcoming. Anna felt, for the first time that day, that she was not alone. The simple question outside the door had set the tone for a moment of trust, allowing Anna to take the first step toward understanding what was happening with her body and learning that she could handle it with support. In that quiet moment outside the bathroom stall, a bridge had been built between fear and reassurance, between confusion and understanding, creating a safe space where Anna's questions could finally be addressed and her anxiety gently eased. Once Anna allowed Ms. Reed to step inside the bathroom, she felt a mixture of relief and continued anxiety. The nurse's calm presence helped her feel a little safer, but the fear that had been building all morning was still very real. Anna's hands trembled slightly, and her chest felt tight as she tried to put her feelings into words. Finally, with a shaky voice, she began to speak. I found blood," she whispered, her eyes wide with worry. "I think I'm hurt." The words were simple, yet heavy with the fear and uncertainty Anna had been carrying alone. She had never experienced this before, and the sight of blood had startled her deeply. Her mind raced with questions. Was it serious? Was something wrong with her body? Had she done something to cause this? She looked at Ms. Reed, searching her face for reassurance, hoping that the nurse would provide answers and help her understand what was happening. Ms. Reed listened carefully, nodding gently to let Anna know that she was being heard. She understood that Anna's fear was natural, especially given her age and the newness of the situation. She knew that the first step in helping a child in this position was to acknowledge their feelings without judgment. "It's okay, Anna," Ms. Reed said softly. "Thank you for telling me. You're not hurt and you're safe. We're going to figure this out together." Anna's shoulders sagged slightly, a mix of relief and lingering tension washing over her. She had been carrying this fear in silence, imagining the worst, and now someone was listening, taking her seriously, and providing calm guidance. For a few moments, she simply breathed, trying to let go of the panic that had made her tremble earlier. Her voice was still shaky, but she continued, sharing a few more details about what she had noticed. Ms. Reed explained gently that what Anna was seeing was a normal part of growing up. She used simple, age-appropriate language, ensuring that Anna could understand without feeling overwhelmed. "The blood you saw is natural," she said. "It's a sign that your body is starting to change as you grow older. It's nothing to be scared of, and it doesn't mean you're hurt." Anna listened closely, trying to absorb every word. Each explanation helped replace her fear with understanding. The nurse also reassured Anna that every child experiences these changes differently. Some start noticing signs earlier than others, and all of it is completely normal. Ms. Reed reminded her that questions are always okay and encouraged her to speak up whenever something felt confusing or scary. That simple guidance helped Anna feel empowered. She realized that she wasn't alone and that she had adults she could trust to help her navigate new experiences. By the end of their conversation, Anna's panic had begun to fade. The trembling in her hands decreased, and she felt a new sense of clarity. The fear that had seemed overwhelming earlier now seemed manageable. With Ms. Reed's calm support, Anna had taken the first steps from worry and uncertainty toward understanding and reassurance, learning that what she had discovered was a normal, natural part of growing up. Sitting quietly with Anna in the small, private space of the school nurse's office, Ms. Reed could sense the girl's continued nervousness. Anna's hands were still slightly trembling, and her eyes were wide with confusion and fear. She had just shared that she had seen blood on her skirt and worried that she was hurt. Ms. Reed knew that what Anna needed most in this moment was clear, gentle guidance. With calm and steady words, she decided it was time to introduce a new term, one that could explain exactly what was happening in a simple and reassuring way. "Anna," Ms. Reed began softly, "the blood you saw is called menstruation. It's a natural part of growing up for girls. It happens when your body starts preparing for the ability to have children one day, and it's completely normal." Anna blinked, trying to process the unfamiliar word. "Menstruation," she repeated in a shaky voice, uncertain how to say it. Ms. Reed nodded kindly, smiling gently. She understood that this term might sound intimidating at first, but with patience, Anna could begin to understand it. Ms. Reed explained that menstruation is something every girl experiences as she grows older. It is part of the natural changes that occur in the body during puberty. "Your body is changing in many ways," she said. "You may notice your body growing taller, your voice changing slightly, or new feelings and emotions that seem stronger than before. Menstruation is just one of these changes, and it happens to everyone at slightly different times." Her voice was calm, steady, and comforting, emphasizing that there was nothing unusual or embarrassing about what Anna was experiencing. She also reassured Anna that menstruation does not mean something is wrong or that she is hurt. "The small amount of blood you saw is not dangerous. It's a sign that your body is healthy and doing exactly what it's supposed to do." Hearing this helped Anna relax a little. She had spent so much time imagining the worst, convinced that she might be injured or sick. Now, Ms. Reed's explanation began to replace fear with understanding. Ms. Reed encouraged Anna to ask any questions she might have, no matter how small or silly they seemed. She explained that learning about menstruation was an important part of growing up and that it was normal to have questions or feel nervous at first. "Everyone goes through this, Anna," she said gently. "It's nothing to be ashamed of, and it's something you'll learn to handle as you grow older. Anna felt a small spark of relief as she realized that what she had thought was a personal problem was actually a normal part of life. By the end of the conversation, Anna had learned the word menstruation and what it meant. The fear that had consumed her earlier was slowly replaced by curiosity and understanding. She realized that her body was changing naturally and that she had adults she could trust to guide her. What had begun as a frightening moment had turned into an opportunity for learning, reassurance, and confidence, an important step in her journey of growing up. After Ms. Reed calmly introduced the word menstruation, Anna began to understand what was happening to her body. The nurse explained that the small amount of blood she had seen on her skirt was actually her first period, a completely natural and normal part of growing up. Anna's initial panic and fear slowly began to ease as she listened carefully to Ms. Reed's words. She realized that she was not hurt, that nothing was wrong, and that she was not alone. Every girl eventually experiences the same changes. Ms. Reed spoke gently, making sure Anna felt safe and supported. "This is something every girl goes through," she said. "It's called your period, and it means your body is growing and maturing just as it should. There's nothing dangerous about it, and nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed of." Anna nodded, her eyes wide but attentive. Hearing these words from a trusted adult gave her comfort. For the first time that day, she felt like she could breathe a little easier. What had seemed like a frightening, mysterious problem now had a name and an explanation. The nurse also reassured Anna that periods are a normal part of life, not a sign that anything is wrong with her body. She explained that some girls start a little earlier and some a little later, but all of it is completely natural. "Every girl goes through this at her own pace," Ms. Reed said. "Some periods are lighter at first, some heavier. Your body will find its own rhythm, and that's okay." Anna felt relief washing over her. She realized that she was simply experiencing something her body was designed to do, a natural step in growing up, and that it wasn't something to hide or be ashamed of. Ms. Reed encouraged Anna to feel proud of her body and the way it was changing. She explained that menstruation was not just normal, but a sign that her body was healthy and functioning as it should. Anna listened closely, slowly letting go of the embarrassment and fear that had been building all morning. She realized that the anxiety she had felt was understandable, but now that she had accurate information, there was no reason to feel ashamed. The nurse also reminded Anna that it was perfectly okay to have questions about her period, about her changing body, and about any other feelings that came with growing up. She explained that talking openly to a trusted adult, whether parent, teacher, or school nurse, was a healthy and helpful way to handle new experiences. This reassurance gave Anna confidence that she could handle her period and any future changes with knowledge and support. By the end of their conversation, Anna's fear and confusion had transformed into understanding, relief, and even a sense of empowerment. She realized that menstruation was simply a normal part of life, that she was not alone, and that there was nothing to be ashamed of. What had begun as a scary, confusing moment had turned into a meaningful lesson about her body, her health, and her growth. A lesson she could carry with her and feel confident about. Ms. Reed, Anna's teacher, wanted to make sure that Anna felt comfortable and prepared during a very important moment in her life. She understood that Anna was beginning to experience menstruation, which is a completely normal and natural part of growing up. To help Anna, Ms. Reed gave her a small emergency kit. This kit included essential items that a girl might need when her period starts unexpectedly, such as sanitary pads, tissues, and possibly a small bag to carry these items discreetly. By giving Anna this kit, Ms. Reed wanted her to feel confident and supported, rather than embarrassed or worried. After handing Anna the kit, Ms. Reed carefully explained how to use each item. She showed Anna step by step how to properly place a sanitary pad in her underwear, how to change it when it becomes full, and how to dispose of it safely and hygienically. She also reminded Anna that changing the pad regularly was important for comfort and health. Ms. Reed spoke in a calm and gentle way, making sure that Anna understood everything and felt comfortable asking questions. This guidance was meant to teach Anna not only how to manage her period, but also to help her feel empowered about her own body. Ms. Reed emphasized that menstruation is a natural part of life, and that there is nothing to be ashamed of. She encouraged Anna to see it as a normal process that every woman goes through, rather than something embarrassing. She reassured Anna that many girls feel unsure or nervous the first time their period starts, and that asking for help is completely okay. By giving Anna the emergency kit and explaining how to use it, Ms. Reed helped Anna feel ready to face any situation confidently. This moment was more than just about learning how to use a sanitary pad. It was about building trust and showing support. Anna learned that she could rely on her teacher for guidance in times when she might feel confused or anxious. The lesson went beyond just practical instructions. It included emotional support, understanding, and encouragement. Ms. Reed made sure that Anna knew she was not alone, and that it was okay to talk openly about her needs. Through this small act of care, Anna gained important knowledge and reassurance. She learned how to take care of herself during her period, how to maintain hygiene, and how to feel confident and comfortable. Ms. Reed's guidance made what could have been an uncomfortable experience into a positive and empowering one. The emergency kit symbolized preparedness, independence, and self-care. Anna left the conversation feeling equipped, supported, and confident that she could manage her period calmly and responsibly, knowing she had the tools and understanding she needed. Ms. Reed wanted to make sure that Anna understood how to take care of herself and feel safe as she started to grow older. One of the most important things she taught Anna was about privacy. She explained that privacy means having personal space and time for yourself, especially when it comes to your body. For example, when changing clothes, taking a shower, or handling sanitary products, it is important to do these things in private so that you feel comfortable and secure. Ms. Reed emphasized that respecting your own privacy is just as important as respecting the privacy of others. She wanted Anna to understand that it is okay to set boundaries and ask for space when needed. Learning about privacy helps a person feel safe and confident in daily life, especially during times when your body is changing. Next, Ms. Reed talked about self-care. She explained that self-care is taking steps to stay healthy, clean, and comfortable. This includes changing sanitary pads regularly, washing hands before and after handling pads, and keeping a small emergency kit ready for unexpected situations. Self-care is not just about hygiene. It also includes eating healthy, getting enough rest, and taking time to relax. Ms. Reed told Anna that paying attention to your body's needs is important and that taking care of yourself shows respect for your own health and well-being. She also mentioned that self-care is a personal responsibility, and learning how to care for yourself properly builds independence and confidence over time. Finally, Ms. Reed explained how to talk to a parent or trusted adult. She told Anna that it is completely normal to have questions or feel unsure about new changes in your body, and that there are adults who can help. Trusted adults could be parents, teachers, or family members who care about her safety and health. Ms. Reed encouraged Anna to speak openly and honestly with these adults when she has concerns or needs advice. She reminded Anna that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Being able to talk to someone trustworthy makes challenges easier to handle and helps you feel supported and understood. By combining these three lessons, privacy, self-care, and communication, Ms. Reed gave Anna the knowledge and tools she needed to navigate this stage of life confidently. She reassured Anna that growing up comes with many changes, but with guidance and preparation, she could handle them successfully. Ms. Reed's guidance helped Anna understand that taking care of herself, respecting her privacy, and seeking help from trusted adults are all important skills for a happy and healthy life. After this conversation, Anna felt more confident and ready to face the changes in her body. She understood that her feelings were normal, and she learned practical ways to stay comfortable, safe, and healthy. With Ms. Reed's support, Anna realized that she could manage her personal hygiene, protect her privacy, and ask for help whenever she needed it. This guidance gave her a sense of independence, reassurance, and empowerment that would help her for years to come. Anna felt a strong sense of relief as she began to understand what was happening to her body. For a while, she had been worried, thinking that something might be wrong with her health. She may have noticed changes in her body, like stomach cramps, mood swings, or unexpected bleeding, and naturally, these changes made her anxious. Many young girls feel confused and frightened when their bodies start to change, especially if it is happening for the first time. Anna's fear was understandable because she did not yet know that what she was experiencing was completely normal. She might have thought that the discomfort or unusual feelings meant she was sick, but now she realized that was not the case. Taking a deep breath, Anna felt her tension slowly melt away. This simple act of breathing deeply helped her calm down and process the new information. She felt lighter, both physically and emotionally, as she acknowledged that her body was doing exactly what it was supposed to do. The relief came from understanding that she was not ill or in danger, but rather entering a natural and important stage of life. This stage, known as adolescence, brings many changes, including the start of menstruation. These changes are a normal part of growing up and signal that her body is maturing in preparation for adulthood. Anna began to recognize that the symptoms she had been worried about were not signs of sickness, but signs of growth. She understood that the cramps, mood swings, and other physical changes were natural signals of her body adapting to this new stage. With this realization, Anna could finally see her body as something strong and capable, rather than something strange or frightening. She understood that every girl goes through similar experiences and that these changes are part of becoming a young woman. At the same time, Anna felt a sense of empowerment. She realized that knowing the truth about her body and learning how to take care of herself gave her confidence. She understood the importance of self-care, hygiene, and talking to trusted adults when needed. This knowledge helped her feel prepared and less anxious about the future. She could now face each day with the understanding that her body's changes were normal and manageable, rather than something to fear. This moment of relief was also emotional. Anna felt proud of herself for handling her fears and for learning about this new stage of life. She understood that growing up comes with responsibilities and changes, but it also comes with excitement and new experiences. The deep breath she took was a symbol of acceptance and readiness. She now looked forward to growing and learning more about herself and her body, feeling more secure and confident than before. In the end, Anna's relief was not just about realizing she wasn't sick. It was about embracing a new chapter in her life. She felt ready to move forward with confidence, understanding, and a sense of calm, knowing that this was a natural part of growing up and becoming a young woman. After experiencing the changes in her body and learning what they meant, Anna decided that she wanted to understand more about growing up. She realized that there was a lot to learn about her body, emotions, and the different stages of life, and that understanding these things would help her feel more confident. Anna knew that sometimes growing up can be confusing because changes happen gradually and can feel overwhelming if you don't have the right information. She wanted to make sure she was well informed so that she could take care of herself properly and feel prepared for the future. Anna started reading books, articles, and guides that explain the changes that happen during adolescence. She learned about physical changes, such as menstruation, growth spurts, and changes in her skin and hair. She also learned about emotional changes, including mood swings, feelings of insecurity, and the development of new responsibilities and independence. By reading carefully and asking questions when she needed clarification, Anna gained a deeper understanding of what was happening to her body and mind. She realized that these changes were completely normal and that every girl goes through them in her own time and in her own way. As she learned more, Anna felt more confident about herself. She realized that knowledge was empowering. The more she understood about growing up, the less worried or anxious she felt about the changes in her life. She understood how important it was to take care of her body, maintain good hygiene, eat healthy, and get enough sleep. She also learned that talking to trusted adults, like parents, teachers, or guardians, was an important way to get support and guidance whenever she needed it. Anna's new understanding inspired her to help others. Later, when she spent time with her younger cousin, she noticed that her cousin had questions and concerns about growing up. Anna remembered how confusing it had felt when she first experienced changes in her own life. She wanted to help her cousin feel prepared and less anxious, using the knowledge she had gained. Anna explained the changes in a simple and caring way. She talked about physical changes, hygiene, and emotional feelings, making sure her cousin understood that all of these changes were natural and normal. Anna also encouraged her cousin to ask questions whenever she needed help and reassured her that it was okay to feel unsure or nervous at times. Through this experience, Anna realized that learning about growing up was not only helpful for herself, but it also allowed her to support others. She discovered that sharing knowledge and guidance could make a positive difference in someone else's life. Helping her cousin gave Anna a sense of pride and responsibility, and it strengthened the bond between them. She felt happy knowing that her cousin could approach her confidently whenever questions or worries came up. In the end, Anna's decision to read and learn more about growing up had a lasting impact. It helped her gain confidence, independence, and understanding, and it allowed her to guide and support her younger cousin. By taking the time to educate herself and share her knowledge, Anna became not only more prepared for her own life, but also a positive influence on the people around her, showing the importance of learning, care, and empathy. Ms. Reed thought back to a recent experience with Anna and reflected on how something that had seemed scary at first had turned into a very positive and meaningful moment. At the beginning, the situation felt like a mystery to both Anna and Ms. Reed. Anna was experiencing new changes in her body for the first time, and she did not understand what was happening. She felt frightened, worried, and uncertain. These feelings are very common for young people who are going through new experiences for the first time. Ms. Reed understood this, and she knew that what could have been a confusing and stressful situation also had the potential to become a learning opportunity. Ms. Reed remembered how Anna had initially been nervous and anxious. Anna had worried that something was wrong with her health and that she might be sick. She didn't yet realize that the changes in her body were a normal part of growing up. At first, the experience seemed like a mystery because Anna's feelings and symptoms were unfamiliar and a little frightening. Ms. Reed reflected on how important it was to approach the situation with patience, understanding, and care. She realized that her role as a teacher or trusted adult was not just to provide information, but to provide comfort and guidance in a gentle and supportive way. By giving Anna practical tools like an emergency kit and explaining self-care, privacy, and how to ask for help from trusted adults, Ms. Reed helped Anna understand what was happening. She guided Anna through the experience in a calm and reassuring manner. What had started as a frightening mystery slowly transformed into a moment of empowerment. Anna learned that she could take care of herself, make safe choices, and ask for help whenever she needed it. This knowledge gave Anna confidence and independence. She no longer felt completely unsure or afraid. Instead, she understood that the changes in her body were natural and manageable. At the same time, Ms. Reed reflected on the trust that developed between herself and Anna. Anna had shared her fears and questions openly, and Ms. Reed had listened, guided, and reassured her. This trust allowed Anna to feel safe while learning and growing. Ms. Reed realized that moments like these are very important in helping young people develop confidence in themselves and their abilities. Trust is built when adults respond with care, understanding, and patience, and empowerment comes when children feel capable of handling challenges and making informed choices. In the end, Ms. Reed felt proud of the outcome. She saw that a situation that had begun with fear and uncertainty had turned into a meaningful experience of learning, growth, and confidence. What started as a frightening mystery had become a moment of empowerment for Anna, helping her feel strong and capable, and a moment of trust that strengthened the relationship between teacher and student. This reflection reminded Ms. Reed of the importance of guiding young people with care, understanding, and knowledge, and of turning moments of fear into opportunities for growth and confidence.